Hello, my lovely learners, and welcome to Easy Stories in English, the podcast that will take your English from okay to good and from good to great. I am Ariel Goodbody, your host for this show. Today's beginner level story is called Grandmother March. In the spring, Baba Marta stretched her arms and set to work. So she stretched her body and started working. She had flowers and trees to wake up, so she needed to wake up the flowers and trees after the winter. Birds to sing with, she liked singing with birds, and she had to keep an eye out for storks. So when you keep an eye out, you look carefully to see something. And remember, storks are these birds, these long white birds. She had to keep an eye out for storks because then people started putting those silly decorations on trees and she had to take them all down. So she doesn't like the marenitsas, the decorations. So after the stork comes and everyone puts them on the trees, she goes and takes them down. She removes them. When, after a long month of hard work, she came to the wine cellar to find her barrel empty, her famous temper made a showing. So this is a difficult sentence, so I'll rearrange it. I'll say it in a different way. So she worked hard for all of March, and then she went to the wine cellar and she found her barrel of wine was empty. There was no wine in it. So her famous temper made a showing. Her temper, which everyone knew about, appeared. So she got really angry, basically. Baba Marta howled. Howl is that kind of noise, like a wolf. Woo! She cried and kicked. Kick, you hit with your feet. And raged. Rage is another word for anger. So she was really angry. She was raging. She hissed. Hiss is she hissed, and rivers of tears flowed from her eyes. So tears are when you cry tears. So the tears came out of her eyes like rivers. She marched right into her brother's house. She walked angrily into her brother's house, pulled them out of bed by their beards and threw them into the river. So she took her brother's beards and pulled them out of bed and threw them into the river. Happy Baba Marta Day, she spat. Spat like puh. She spat and left her brothers drowning in the water. When you drown, you are in water and you can't swim and you are dying. And because she threw her brothers out of bed into the river, they woke up suddenly and they were drowning. Gradually, after many pints of beer at the pub, Baba Marta's rage subsided. So slowly, after drinking a lot of beer at the pub, Baba Marta's anger went down. Subside means to go down, to get better. At least it was my family enjoying that wine, she said to the bartender. If it was strangers, I'd be very angry. So she thinks, okay, it's not good that they drank my wine, but they are my brothers. If my brothers drank my wine, that's okay, because they are family. They understand that it's good wine. If strangers, if people I don't know were drinking the wine, I would be really angry. The bartender just nodded. When you nod, you say yes with your head, and said nothing. Though Baba Marta might forgive, she never forgot. So we have a phrase, we say to forgive and forget. So when someone does something bad, you should forgive. You should say, it's okay, I accept your apology, that's fine. And you should forget. You should forget what they did to you. But of course, in real life, forgiving and forgetting is quite difficult. So, though Baba Marta might forgive, although she forgave them, she never forgot. She didn't forget what her brothers did. Every now and then, in the month of March, sometimes in the month of March, she would remember what her brothers had done to her and fly into a rage. So she remembered what they did and got very angry. She would cry and hiss. Ah! And the weather would turn dark and rainy. So she remembered what they did, she got angry, and the weather goes rainy and dark. And when her anger subsided, when she stopped being angry, the sun came out again. So the reason the weather is so changeable in March is because Baba Marta remembers what happened and gets angry. It is a good thing that Baba Marta never found out that her brothers took her wine as a gift. So it's good that she thought that her brothers drank the wine. She didn't know that the wine went to a wedding. To a wedding where many strangers drank it, right? Because Baba Marta was happy that the wine was drunk by her brothers, but if she knew that it went to a wedding and lots of strangers were drinking it, she would not be happy. If she knew, then we wouldn't have sunshine in March for 1,000 years. Yet, so if she knew that strangers drank her wine, she would be so angry that we would have no sunshine in March. The sun would be gone. There would just be rain in March for 1,000 years. The end. Okay, so well done for listening to that. And now let's listen to the real story. The whole story without interruptions. So, listen and enjoy. Grandmother March. Once upon a time, there were 3 siblings, Frosty, Chili, and Grandmother March, or Baba Marta. Each one of them ruled over a different time of year, and each had a different personality. But they all got on well. The 3 siblings owned a small vineyard, and after a year of good weather, they were left with 3 big barrels of wine, one for each of them. In January, Frosty set about his work. He walked through mud, walked across frost, fought through snow, and danced with the wind. At the end of the month, he was exhausted, so he sat down for a drink. He shoved a finger into his barrel and made a hole, and then he put his mouth to the hole and drank. In February, it was Chili's turn to work. He was much gentler than his older brother, but he was still a hard worker. He swam through rivers, broke the ice, melted the snow, sent water down the mountains, cleared forests, made nests for starlings, and walked for miles and miles. Like his brother, he was tired at the end of his work, and thirsty too. But he opened his barrel of wine more gently and enjoyed the drink slowly. 1 glass, 2, 3, 4. One day, Frosty and Chili were invited to the wedding of an old friend. Knowing that they should bring a present, they went into their wine cellar, but they found only 1 barrel left, which belonged to Baba Marta.
Well, said Frosty, we are older, so we are allowed to take the wine. But Marta won't be happy, said Chili. Their sister had a fierce temper. Still, we can't show up without a present. So they took the wine and hoped that Marta wouldn't notice. In the spring, Baba Marta stretched her arms and set to work. She had flowers and trees to wake up, birds to sing with, and she had to keep an eye out for storks, because then people started putting those silly decorations on trees, and she had to take them all down. When, after a long month of hard work, she came to the wine cellar to find her barrel empty, her famous temper made a showing. Baba Marta howled. She cried and kicked and raged. She hissed, and rivers of tears flowed from her eyes. She marched right into her brother's house, pulled them out of bed by their beards, and threw them into the river. Happy Baba Marta Day, she spat, and left her brothers drowning in the water. Gradually, after many pints of beer at the pub, Baba Marta's rage subsided. At least it was my family enjoying that wine, she said to the bartender. If it was strangers, I'd be very angry. The bartender just nodded and said nothing. Though Baba Marta might forgive, she never forgot. Every now and then, in the month of March, she would remember what her brothers had done to her and fly into a rage. She would cry and hiss, and the weather would turn dark and rainy. And when her anger subsided, the sun came out again. It is a good thing that Baba Marta never found out that her brothers took her wine as a gift to a wedding where many strangers drank it. If she knew, then we wouldn't have sunshine in March for 1,000 years. The end.
So, I hope you enjoyed this story. It's a nice little short one, but I think it's a lovely tale. As I record this, it's April in the UK, and the weather is not changeable. We did have lots of changeable weather in February and March, but at the moment it's just sun, sun, sun. It's beautiful. We had a very cloudy, miserable winter, a very sad winter with no sunshine. And now we have lots of sunshine. So I guess Baba Marta is happy. I feel like I talk about the weather a lot on the podcast, but that's a very British thing. Honestly, we do talk about the weather a lot in the UK, especially this winter because it was so dark. Everyone was just very sad and depressed. And then when the sun came out, you really felt it. Like everyone was much happier. So that's the nice thing about British weather is we really do appreciate the sun when it comes out. And there's a very different mood in the country between winter and spring and summer. Anyway, I have some very exciting news to share about my life, but I'm going to do a whole separate episode about it, so look forward to that next week. All right then, have a great week and I'll see you soon.